What the fuck is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Look at these motherfuckers. These are the sick ass glasses I was talking about. Sheesh. Sheesh. Dude, they're awesome. I like them. They're supposed to help light sensitivity and focus in motherfuckers like ADHD and autism and shit like that. And I think there's something a little off in my fucking brain because they definitely help. Like, I feel a lot calmer, a lot more focused. Because the light is just too much sometimes. It just fucking tweaks me out, dude. I don't like it. So these, I feel like they're going to help me a lot. I mean, it kind of fucked with my head for a little while just because it's a different shade than my brain's normally used to and shit. But now that my eyes are adjusted, my brain just feels like it's been taken down a notch. I don't know if that makes sense, but it helps a lot. But how the fuck are you guys doing, ladies and gentlemen? I'm doing pretty goddamn good. I mean, I don't think I have much to complain about, to be honest. Normally, I got something that I'm gonna bitch and moan about, but this time, I feel pretty good about life. I was kind of worried this morning that I blew a head gasket and our furnace was fucked up, but the furnace is solved. My truck ain't guzzling coolant, and there's no oil mixed in the coolant, so I haven't blown a head gasket. I drove all the way to Ames the other day with Adam and our homie Miguel from work, and Miguel's like, "You might need coolant in this motherfucker," and I was like, "No, engines don't need coolant." It turns out my shit was bone fucking dry, and it did need coolant. And then I gave him shit for like the whole rest of the drive. Like, hey man, you made me spend $13 on coolant. But I was just giving him shit, obviously. But what's funny is the same thing fucking happened a few years ago with my oil when me and Chance were going to get his new whip. I guess it's not so new now, but his Honda Civic, when we went and got it, we were driving up to Wisconsin, and he's like, your truck sounds weird. I was like, no, it sounds perfect. And he's like, no, seriously, dude, your fucking truck sounds fucked up. And I was like, obviously my ego was getting in the way. Like, no, fuck you. You sound fucked. No, and then we fucking pulled over. Turns out my engine didn't have any oil in it. I had no oil in my fucking truck whatsoever. We were already in Wisconsin. So we drove all the way to Wisconsin with no fucking oil in my shit. I'm trying to get better at that type of shit though, because I don't really know how to operate a vehicle. I know how to run it. I could drive a motherfucking vehicle, but when it comes to operating it and fucking making sure everything's solid, I'm not too versed in the car world for that kind of stuff. I changed my own oil and I thought that was good. But now it turns out you got to check all your fluids when you change your oil. This is news to me. I never really gave a shit about vehicles before I owned one, you know? So now I got to figure out how to operate that son of a bitch. My truck's been good to me. I didn't blow a head gasket. The engine was fairly cold for the majority of the time that we were driving and shit. It just wouldn't move up and down. I'm like, what the fuck's going on with my goddamn temperature gauge? It's not working right. Sure as shit, I needed coolant in that motherfucker. I just got done at the gym. Did some legs and worked a little bit of my titty. It was a pretty good fucking workout, honestly. It felt good. I normally I'm fighting myself in there, but I don't know if it has something to do with these glasses or what, but I felt calm as shit today. Most of the day I've just been chilling. Just been fucking feeling pretty good. I'm at a baseline, it feels like. And I haven't felt this way since I was high. That's why I kind of like these motherfuckers, because they put a pink hue around everything. So everything's kind of as if you're high all the time, even though I'm sober as fuck. I haven't smoked in, let's see, probably like 2, 3 weeks now. I haven't drank in over a month now. And I'm going to keep fucking going because I feel pretty good. I've hit some rough spots, and normally when I feel like drinking or smoking, I just go get a pop, to be honest, which is not a good addiction either. but it's better than fucking my mind up. Now, obviously, there's nothing wrong with weed. I don't have a problem with weed per se, but I was talking to Adam about this earlier, and I think people use it wrong, to be honest, because I feel like it's supposed to be a psychedelic. That's the way it's supposed to be used. Because if you don't use it very often, it is very similar to mushrooms in a way. The feeling you get, the state of, you feel like you're dying almost. It's not, obviously, it's not real death, but your brain feels like it's dying. Your ego feels like it's dying. And I feel like that's healthy for a lot of people. But I feel like people get stuck in the effect that it's giving you, and that's why people smoke it so often. And the same thing happened with me with mushrooms for a while. I was getting addicted to them in a way that you shouldn't be able to get addicted to them, just because I liked the effect they were giving me. I was learning, I was growing as a human being, I felt like. But the problem is you got to integrate that thing into your life. And if you're only using the substance all the time, then you're not integrating anything you're learning. You're just, oh, I'm high, now I'm not. Oh, I'm high, now I'm not. Oh, I'm high, now I'm not. Instead of, okay, I got this experience, and now what can I do with this experience to help improve and better my life and my state of being? And my example of that is I've done mushrooms a lot. It doesn't seem like it. I mean, maybe it does. I don't fucking know. But I think I function pretty well in society. That's my gauge of whether I lost my mind or not, is how well can I function in society. And I think I do pretty well. I go to work, I pay my taxes, I do what I got to do that society says I got to do. But then when it's my time to fucking do what I want to do, like go to the gym or just fucking do what I want, I do it. And I'm not going to let nobody tell me nothing any different, because it's my life and I decide I want to live it. But I've taken an ounce. I've taken an ounce of mushroom, and that was a pretty scary experience, and I don't recommend it. But I think I've said that on here before. But on that ounce, I didn't have any visuals like people say you do on psychedelics. It's almost like I was a 3-year-old for the entire day because I just pushed down my prefrontal cortex, my decision-making piece of my brain, to a state to where I couldn't function my body normally. I couldn't think in the way I wanted to. So it was a beneficial experience in a way now looking back on it. But during that experience, it wasn't very beneficial because I was fucking myself over, honestly. And I realized later on that should have been the turning point that I realized that Maddie was going to leave, dude, because just from that experience alone, a lot of things came from it that I didn't recognize before, like that I didn't listen to her, I didn't appreciate her, I wasn't very good to her. Obviously, I've said that. I'm over her now, which I could say proudly that I fucking worked through all my bullshit, and I don't feel no way towards her anymore. I hope she does well for herself, but that's it. But that experience wasn't very beneficial in the moment. I didn't learn much in that moment because I was too hyped up. But I had taken a gram or two, maybe 2.5, with Chance at one point, and that experience I feel like was more beneficial, and it was a lot more visual because I had taken it out in our garage. We'd taken them together. We went out there to smoke or something, and we were just sitting there, and then I felt the world starting to shift around me. And I'm like, wow, I think this is going to be a crazy one. I'm like, Chance, we got to go the fuck inside because this is going to be wild. I could feel it in my bones. And so we went back inside. And when I feel like that, when I feel like it's going to get out of hand or out of control, out of my control at least, it was in control for whatever the fuck God is. God knew what the fuck was going on. I didn't. But when I feel like that, I grab a pillow, I grab a blanket, and I wrap myself in that motherfucking blanket, and I just lay on the couch or lay on the bed, do whatever I got to do, because once you put the substance inside of your body, there's no getting out of it. It's already there, buddy, so you might as well ride that fucking ride and enjoy it, or at least try to. So that's what I do. I just, all right, put my body in a state where it's not going to be harmed, and then I fucking was trying to watch TV, but it wasn't working. I kept looking at the screen. I would see the same scene. I'd look back at the ceiling, look back at the screen, look back at the ceiling, look back at the screen, look back at the ceiling. And every time I looked back at the screen, it was the same scene over and over again. we were watching the show Invincible, or he was trying to show it to me, but I couldn't grasp the visual input of what was going on in that. Adam texted me. It's distracting. I couldn't grasp what was going on in the scenes because your brain starts to focus on stupid shit too, like little things that you shouldn't be focusing on. Like, why is he moving his mouth that way? It starts to focus on weird shit. And so every time I looked at the screen, I was just focusing on weird shit. I couldn't watch the whole entirety of the show. But then I closed my eyes because I'm like, fuck this. I can't fucking focus on this show. I'm just going to close my eyes. And that's when I started seeing the geometric patterns and fractals and shit that people say you see on psychedelics. And I legit, your brain and ego thinks you're dying. That's what it feels like. It's almost death, but it's not death. And you're nowhere close to death because weed and mushrooms can't hurt you in that manner. They can, I mean, if you get it laced or you do it and you have a preproposition. Is that the word? If you're predisposed, that's the word. If you're predisposed to schizophrenia or any other mental disorders, obviously you shouldn't be doing it. It's going to fuck you over. But I think I got a pretty strong mind. That's not an egoic thing to say because I've done a lot of shit to it that should probably have fucked me up more than I'm fucked up. I think I'm pretty normal for what I've done to myself. And I started to see all the fractals and shit, and then my brain's like, all right, if I'm fucking dying, I'm dying. What else are you going to do? And then you accept that fact that, okay, I'm going to die. Fucking, what else are you going to do? And we got to accept that fact every day, to be honest, because everybody's going to die. There's no fucking living forever, honestly. So why the fuck is that any different than in a sober consciousness, you know? But then once you accept that on those substances, it starts to make sense because you're like, okay, if I'm going to die, what's actually important? I want to love people more. I want this podcast to continue and do well. I want to see my family, my friends. I want to just, you start to think about the things that are actually important in this reality, not just, oh, I got to do this. I got to fucking sweep the floor. I got to pay my bills. You start to think about the whole of life itself and what the fuck do you want to be in this life? What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of human being do you want to be? And so that in its sense is what I think marijuana is supposed to do for you as well. I need a little drinky poo. I think that weed is supposed to be used in that same manner because I get that same feeling from a high dose of weed if I do not use it very often. I get a high state of paranoia. I get my heart racing a lot, you know, and you start to feel as if, oh shit, I could have a heart attack or I could die. But you lean into that feeling and you're like, okay, what if I do die right now? Then what is important? And I think that's the way it's supposed to be used. That's the way the Greeks used it in the immortality key. Brian Marescu talks about that the Greeks used to use these substances to die before you die so that you do not die when you die. Because when you're on your deathbed, if you have all these realizations of what was important, oh, I should have loved people more. I should have fucking taken care of my dreams and my aspirations. I should have done this. I should have done that. You're already dying, dude. It's way too fucking late to do that. That's what the fuck you were supposed to use these substances for, is so that, okay, I could have died in that experience. That's at least what your brain tells you. So what the fuck do I need to do on this life and on this, or in this life and on this planet to make sure that when I die, I have fulfilled everything that I tried to do? And maybe you don't reach all your dreams and your goals, but at least you can say you fucking tried. And I think that's what the fuck we're supposed to be using these substances for. That's why I don't want to do it very often, because I feel like smoking it every day, and the same thing happens with mushrooms or acid. If you do it every single day, not only will you feel fucked up, but it stops having the same effect of what it was supposed to be all along. So you just end up chasing a dragon. It's almost like nicotine, but it's a lot more powerful than nicotine, I feel like. And if you use it effectively, then I think that you can have a much better much better experience with these substances. You use it every once in a while, and then you integrate that feeling and that knowledge that you've gained into your life. Okay, how do I figure out how to love people more? How do I figure out how to chase after my dreams and my goals, my aspirations that I have? You got to figure out how to live in the best manner possible. And I think these substances can help you. If you're just chasing after the feeling that they give you all the time, I feel like it's not going to serve you as well. Well, I know it's not going to serve you as well because I tried it. I tried it so hard. I was drinking so long. I was smoking so long. I was chasing these fucking dragons for a long fucking time. From fucking second grade, I was put on pills. And then I got off from sophomore year. So that's from 9 to like fucking 16. That's what? Fucking 5 years there. And then from 16 to fucking 22, I fucking was chasing that dragon. And that's fucking what? 9, 11 years of my life that I was just chasing a dragon that doesn't exist. And you never get it. That's what people won't tell you. You never catch the fucking dragon. The dragon's constantly, you think you're going to catch it, and then it runs faster or flies away. And you're like, shit, I almost got it that time. So then you go and do it again and again and again until you realize all you feel is pain. And you don't feel good about yourself because you haven't been working as hard as you could be working. And people use it as a form of escape. Oh, I don't feel good. I'm angry. I'm sad. I'm this, I'm that. So you use it. Oh, I'm going to go get high. No, that's not the fucking intention. Or that shouldn't be your intention of using the substance. It should be a learning experience and something that furthers you in your experience as a human being. I think alcohol can be used in the same way, but it's too addictive for me, at least. I mean, I can't use it in that way. I've accepted that. I can't fucking talk. I've accepted that alcohol is not a beneficial substance for me, and it took me a long time to accept that. And I'd go back into it, like, oh, maybe I can do it this time. But no. Every time I go and use it, it's the same fucking thing. And when I first stopped drinking, I went into Hy-Vee and I was dead set on buying Modelo, dude. I looked like an idiot probably, but I stood there and I looked at Modelo's for fucking 10 minutes. I stood there like, But I was running myself through the experience, every experience I've ever had with this substance, every experience I've had with alcohol. Even when you think you're having a good time, think it's going to be fun, it's never a good time because then the substance leaves your body, you feel like dog shit. All right, and that's what people don't understand. You got to look at the whole experience. It's not just I get drunk, then I have a hangover. No, that's one thing. You're getting drunk, you're putting this poison in your body, and then later on the poison leaves and you feel like dog shit. Your sleep was shit. Your body feels bad. You're inflamed. Your liver hurts, especially after that podcast, but before I did that podcast of when I had those black eyes because that chick fucking stole my glasses and shit. I was legit trying to kill myself with the bottle, man, and I was drinking like fucking 8 Wicked Reds a day for like a week. I was doing it. And I was trying to fucking shut my shit down, shut my liver down, shut my body down. And then my body realized, what the fuck you doing, dude? After that week, my body just was in pain. My liver hurt, my back hurt, my heart was hurting, everything was in pain. And I remember that I went to work and I had a simple fucking task, okay? I had to set footings, which is these little forms. They're probably about this big, and some of them can be long, but they're not heavy. And the footings were kicking my ass, dude. That is something easy that anybody could do, even if you don't go to the gym, you don't fucking work out, don't do exercise in the slightest. That shit is an easy job to do. But it was whooping my fucking ass, dude. I was sweating like a dog. I was fucking, steam was pouring off my body, dude. I looked like I was just got out of the fucking sauna. but it was just my own body detoxing from all that poison I put inside of myself. And then later in that day, I had another simple task to fucking put tarps inside of a fucking trailer from a floor that we had done. And those tarps were literally the heaviest fucking things I ever lifted at that time because of what I did to myself. It was one of the hardest things to this day, I don't think, and it sounds simple. All right, you pick a tarp up, you put it in the fucking trailer, and it is simple. But after a week of drinking and fucking, especially that like strength of alcohol, they're 8%, so they're strong. And then they come in tall boys. So really, I'm drinking like 2.5 beers, the normal beers, every time I drink one. So I'm drinking 1, 2, 3. It's like 16, 17, 18 beers that I'm consuming daily. And I know people do that all the time, but these are highly processed. There's a lot of sugar in them, and they're very strong. You only really need one to feel them. But I go crazy when I hit the bottle. So I was fucking going hard on it. And after that experience, those tarps were whooping my fucking ass, dude. I had to stop like every 10 minutes, just like take a break, fucking sit there for like 5 minutes to rest, dude, and then I'd go and grab another one. And I wasn't lifting these tarps. I was just pulling them. That's how hard it was. My body was not cooperating with me because it was just such a difficult thing to do after fucking poisoning myself for so long. I had no strength left. My cardio was gone. I just felt like shit. And I've accepted that substance just isn't for me. And I tried a little while ago before I stopped again, before this month, just stopped drinking, and it wasn't working out. I don't think I've drank this year, to be honest. Now that I'm thinking about it, that was my goal, was to go a year without it. And I haven't drank this year yet. And I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to try not to. And everything in my power, I'm not going to do it. But sometimes I fail, and I'm not going to fail. I'm not going to fail this time. Because I'm going to do everything in my fucking power not to. That's why when I feel like doing it, I go get a Code Red. Mountain Dew Code Red, dude. Because for some reason, that shit makes me feel alright for a little while. It makes me feel comfortable. It makes me feel like I don't need an alcoholic beverage. I got this Code Red here. The carbonation, the cherry, the sugar, it's just enough to fucking disperse my cravings for long enough for me to think rationally about things and be like, do I really want to go and drink right now? And most of the time, the answer is no. And I think it's just a loop people get into. I was driving down North Federal in Mason City, all right? And it was probably a few weeks after I stopped drinking. And it made me realize that we have such a bad addiction in our society of alcohol, and we don't even realize it because the substances become so normalized. Because on that North Federal Road, there's 2 gas stations that you can get liquor at. There's 3 liquor stores on that road. There's a bar on that road. And then there's a store that you can go in, that you can go and get liquor. And then you go to the left, and down that road, there's another liquor store. And then you go to the gas station there. There's another liquor store. And then you go over here to the right. There's more liquor that way. Everywhere you look, there's fucking alcohol. And it just made me realize, what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? This has become our main substance in our society, is drinking our fucking feelings and our lives away for what? So many people spend so much money every weekend on drinking. And it's like, dude, imagine if you didn't do that. Imagine if you had the money that you spent. I would spend like $300 every weekend on just drinking. And when I was 16, every dollar I had was to drugs. It was just to bullshit. Pills, fucking alcohol, weed, this, that. That's why I was always fucking broke. Is because I was just spending every dollar I made on trying to feel something that was never going to make me feel all right. Because it's not. It never comes to anything good. Even if you think you have a good night, oh no. No, buddy, because you're going to have a rough fucking morning now. It's a push and pull. It's like going to hit somebody or something, getting in a fight. You think getting into a fight's going to make you feel good, but you just fucking beat the shit out of somebody, or you got your ass beat. So how do you feel good? It's not going to feel good. Maybe it'll feel good for a second. When that bitch stole my AirPods and my glasses, I'm sure she felt pretty proud of herself for a little while, but she's still going to be chasing that fucking dragon. And that's why I didn't go to her house. I didn't talk to her, try to get my shit back, because I don't care. Look at me, dude. I don't give a fuck. Like, I got my glasses. I got 2 extra pairs up there. I can go and get a pair of AirPods right now if I really wanted to, but I've been pushing it off because I think saving my money and stacking my bread is more important right now. I got a pair of headphones that works just fine. They look pretty fucked up, I ain't gonna lie. But Chance gave them to me. They work just fine. They play music. They do what they're supposed to do. So why should I go and buy another pair of AirPods when I don't need to? It doesn't matter. So I'm going to improve my life. And I'm going to do it in the best way I see fit. So why would I go and try to harm somebody else or do something to somebody else that makes me feel like shit just because I want to do it in a temporary short time frame? Like, that doesn't make sense. Sure, it took me a little while to rebuild shit back, but I don't give a fuck what people try to do to me because I know I'm going to get it back. Like, I spend money or I give money to people. Okay, cool. I'm going to make that money back. And Adam and I were talking about that earlier because it's like people chase after money like it's some fucking luxury item. It's some, oh, this is the golden ticket right here. All I need is $1 million and I'll be happy. Dude, if you listen to any Juice WRLD song, tell me that motherfucker was happy. He wasn't happy. That motherfucker killed himself because he wasn't happy. He was doing drugs. He fucking OD'd. He died because that motherfucker wasn't happy. And he rapped about it all the time. I got millions and I'm still not happy. Still don't feel good. Because you're not going to feel good from something like that. Anything you chase outside of yourself is not going to make you feel all right. I mean, you could buy all the things in the world. You could have a mansion. You could have nice cars. You could have this or that. That's why I really appreciate Ram Dass, to be honest, because that motherfucker was a Harvard professor. He was a fucking at the top of his goddamn league. He had nice cars, nice house, more money than you could ever need. And when he got fired from Harvard in the 70s, he gave it all up and became a spiritual teacher because he said, fuck all this shit. It doesn't matter. None of it's going to make me feel all right. And he fucking went and became a spiritual teacher because that made him feel successful. That made him feel at peace. That made him feel happy for once in his fucking life. Happiness it's a fleeting emotion. You can't fucking get it. Like it's not like something that you could just fucking have all the time. You're not going to feel happy all the time. Sometimes you're going to feel sad, mad, depressed. But peace within yourself is something that you can feel at all times. And it sometimes goes away, but it's always there. And that's his main point, is that it's like your fucking heart, dude. Almost. That's what peace is. You don't feel your heart all the time, but it's there and it's keeping you alive. That's what peace is. And that's what everybody should be fucking chasing, is the inner peace. How do I feel good within myself? Not with all these substances, alcohol, weed, this or that. It's not going to make you feel all right. It might for a little short temporary amount of time. But guess what? You're still going to come back to yourself and how you feel and how you felt before. Sometimes it's worse, sometimes it's better. But you're still not going to be completely at peace with who you are and what you've done unless you put in the work to become that type of person, you know? And it took me a long time to realize that. And when I was going really hard when I first moved in with Chance, it was funny because he would tell me that, you know, you're doing all this shit to be healthy, but then you're drinking like 2 bottles, 3 bottles every weekend. And I've been thinking about that shit since he told me that, to be honest, because he's right. He was right. Because I was taking athletic greens. I was working out. I was trying to eat well, take care of my mind, take care of my spirit. But then I'd go and drink like 3 bottles every weekend. That's not taking care of yourself. That's not doing you any fucking favors whatsoever. And I think people need to figure that out. Everybody needs to figure it out. I don't think that we should be fucking hitting the bottle or smoking away our fucking feelings. It's one thing to go and drink just because you're drinking. Like if you just decide, all right, I'm going to drink. That's cool. But a lot of people use it to just mask their feelings and mask their emotions that they've been trying to suppress for a long fucking time. I think a lot of people use it to stay in an infantile state, to be honest, because it makes you almost like a child. I made some very fucking stupid decisions and mistakes when I was drinking, but you don't feel it until the next morning. You're like, I was drunk. It's all right. No, it's not, because you're acting like a child. Doesn't matter if it's for 1 day or 2 days or 3 days, you're still acting like a fucking baby, because that's how kids act. They make mistakes and they don't give a fuck about them. But if you make a mistake and you make your life harder because you're doing something, well then you gotta fix that shit. And nobody said it's gonna be easy. You might have to fucking work your ass off to fix it. But guess what? It's gonna be worth it when you get it said and done. And I have a problem with that too in my own head, because everything I do, it's never enough. That's why I just keep doing shit. It's not because I want to. You think I want to go to the gym or do this or do that? It's because I know that if I don't do it, it's not going to be enough for me. And I'm not going to be happy with myself, because I need to do more all the time. I don't even like to sleep because it's not enough. I'm sleeping. But I try to structure my day in a way that I do a lot of things that make me feel accomplished. That way, when the day's over, I can lay there in bed and feel okay with laying there in bed. But then, as soon as the next morning hits, I'm up. I'm up as early as I fucking wake up. This morning, I woke up at 4:30, lay down, I closed my eyes, tried to go back to bed, woke up at 6:30, and then I decided to get the fuck up, because it's like, you're only burning your own time, dude. What else you need to do? Like, sleeping's not going to get anything done. So why are you doing it? You need to recover and heal your body and your mind, but also, there's only so much sleep a motherfucker needs. And I can't sleep for forever. I don't like sleeping. I mean, I like dreaming. Dreaming's pretty fun. But when it comes to like, oh, I got to shut down, I don't like that part, because I don't like having to shut down. And I never fully shut down either. It's like a power saving mode. I don't even fucking really sleep, to be honest. And maybe things will change as time goes on. But I always feel like my brain never shuts off completely. And now that I'm saying that, I think it's already changing, because maybe it's just because I was smoking so much, to be honest. Because when I would smoke, it'd feel like I was thinking all night. I wasn't sleeping. But now I dream. I dream, and my brain actually goes into a state where I can recover and do different things. Huh. I never thought about that till now. But dreaming and sleeping is very important. It clears your brain out. There's a lot of weird chemicals that are built up throughout the day, and you have to clean your brain out. I don't know the exact science behind it, I ain't gonna lie. But I know that I've read or heard some things about it where it clears out bad chemicals and shit while you're in that state. And that's why you have to do it. It recovers your muscles, your mind. It recovers everything. And you need to do it. I gotta piss. Something else Adam and I were talking about? I wonder if that'll work. No, I can see the time. We don't want to see the time. Ooh. Ooh. There we go. Good enough. Good enough. Perfect. Another thing Adam and I were talking about, we were trying to come up with like, because he asked me if I feel better now that I let God into my life. And that just sounds weird to me, like letting God into my life. Because God's always been here. And I know it's weird to say that even, because I used to not believe in it too. I didn't believe in a God. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But there's something out there. There's something that fuels all of us and that connects all of us. And I feel it. I felt it even more intensely when I smoke or when I take mushrooms. But we're trying to come up with an analogy because like it's almost like the one I was trying to come up with was like if you if you live in like Antarctica or vice versa, you live in a place like fucking Brazil where it barely ever gets cold, right? Or a place where it barely ever gets hot. Do you like obviously you can feel fire, which is hot, or you can feel like ice from your freezer or something if you don't feel cold normally outside. But like the analogy I was trying to come up with is like if you never experienced cold before, how would you explain that to somebody? Or if you've never experienced heat before, how would you explain that to somebody? Cold might be a better analogy because the human body's kind of warm, you know? So maybe cold's a better analogy for that because if you've never experienced cold, how could you like if you have a child or if you have somebody who's never felt what cold is, how do you explain that to somebody? Because like yeah, it could feel you could say it feels like pins and needles, or you could say it does this or does that, but that then it's up to the other person to believe that what you're saying is correct. Like, dude, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. There's this thing, and I don't know what to call it, but it makes you feel like you've got pins and needles in your skin, and like it doesn't feel good, but it can feel good. It's like, how do you explain that to somebody? And that's basically what explaining God is, honestly. But the thing is, you can experience cold and hot, like I said, through a fire or through ice. So, and God is truly ineffable. There's nothing you could give somebody that would make them experience something like that. That's the thing. So, and that's why we were talking about like church or something like that. If you go and preach the word of God, people are going to look at you like you're a fucking idiot. Because, like, oh, this guy, he's talking about some weird shit that I can't feel or experience or see. So, how the fuck would you explain that to somebody? And I still don't know to this fucking to this day how you would experience or explain something like that. And then I figure like the only way to do it is to live it. Like how else do you explain something that you feel? It's almost like trying to explain your emotions to somebody. Like, yeah, I'm sad. And they'll run their experience through when they were sad, but you still don't feel their sadness. You feel your own sadness because that you ran yourself through experiences of your past sadness. And that sadness might be different to somebody else's sadness. So trying to explain a divine feeling or something like that of that nature to somebody, it just sounds stupid. So the only way to do it, and maybe that's kind of like depression. You can't see or feel somebody else's depression, but if they're cutting their arms or drinking themselves to death, you kind of feel it in a way, but not in the way that they feel it. They just look like a crazy motherfucker to you. And so maybe that's what God is that you have to live by that moral code and live by whatever the fuck that thing is telling you and guiding you, how it's guiding you. And that might be the only way to fucking explain how you feel God in a way, I guess. Which it sounds stupid. It sounds crazy. But like I'm still brainstorming it as I'm talking. Like me going to the gym, eating well, taking care of myself, trying not to abuse substances, trying not to fall to a lustful state of mind. Those are all ways that I see that I can honor whatever God is for keeping me here. Okay? So by living in that standard, other people might follow along, but they don't know exactly why they're doing it. And I think we were talking about this too. I think that's why you need like some divine power when you're going through something like AA or NA, or you're trying to fucking change your life. Basically, you need some divine essence to help you, because if you're just trying to change yourself without that, you don't know why you're doing it. I mean, yeah, people say you're going to be better. Yeah, I'm doing better for myself. But why? Why are you doing better for yourself? Yeah, I quit drinking because it's bad for me. But you're always going to have that lingering feeling inside you that I want to have a drink. So you need some kind of divine power, something above yourself, to want to continue that path of not drinking or doing this or doing that. And it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing. God is ineffable. There's nothing you can know, see, read, say. There's nothing. So trying to put it into words that somebody else understands, it just sounds like you're an idiot. That's why all these fucking preachers who go to like Africa, this motherfucker's clicking. He doesn't even know what the fuck you're saying over there in your English language, and you're trying to give him God. It's almost like that guy who was trying to bring Christianity to the North Sentinelese, and they fucking speared him with arrows and shit. It's like, nigga, shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? This bullshit. Yeah, there's this guy up, and he's somewhere. He's not in the sky, but he's everywhere. It's almost like trying to explain somebody to Santa Claus to somebody. But we figure out later on in life that Santa Claus ain't real. So why the fuck will we believe in some God? But it's everywhere, but it's nowhere. And you can feel it, but you can't. It's a weird thing to try to explain. Because it's like, how do you put into words that this is something tangible? But it's almost not tangible because you can't perceive it with your senses. None of your senses. You can't feel it with your hands. You can't see it. You can't fucking hear it. And maybe it's our own thoughts. Maybe that's God. Who the fuck knows? But I don't know I don't know why I believe now, to be honest. The only reason I think I believe now is because I went from a purely scientific standpoint on life, and then you take something like mushrooms, and you realize that, oh shit, how do I explain this with science? You can say it's a drug and the chemicals are going through your brain. You could try to explain it in a scientific manner, which, yes, it's true. But also, the experience you gain from that and the knowledge and the feeling inside of you, that is something untangible to the human language and the human mind and the human body. Because your senses, like, what is it? Fuck. What is the word that they use? Fucking. There's a word for when your senses start to merge into one another, and I forget what that word is. But people report where they can hear colors and see sound sometimes on psychedelics. So what the fuck is that? That you can't explain that with science because our ears are the ones that receive auditory stimulation, and our eyes receive visual stimulation. Our skin receives stimulation from touching things. So how do you explain that an auditory thing can become a visual thing? Like, you're not just seeing music notes, you're seeing sound. That doesn't even make sense to say. Or you can hear color. How the fuck do you hear color? Our senses and our brain can't understand something like that. And that's almost like God, in a way. You can't, it's something that is not tangible to the human mind. But then it leads me to think about, like, animals. Because our brain and our senses are evolved to see the things that we need to see to survive. And yeah, they've changed over time. We don't need to see a deer running through the woods no more, but we do need to see a fucking motherfucker coming at us at 60 miles per hour. So these stresses or stimulations become different over time to allow us to survive. But then there's animals like dogs. Their brain is built purely off scent. I mean, they can see, obviously, but they don't see the same way we see because our visual stimulation and our eyes are our main form of interacting with our world. You could plug my ears and fucking tell me not to touch anything, but I could still see you moving around and shit. But if you take my eyes away, I can hear you, but I can't see you, and it makes things 10 times harder. And then you take my eyes and my ears away, now I can only feel you with my hands. And then you got taste, which taste is kind of weird because it only comes from fucking eating things now. But then you look at babies; they put everything in their mouth. They and they're reading the world in a different manner than we are because they're putting all these things. They put fucking their toys in their mouth, their hands. They're trying to get as much data from their environment as possible. What does this taste like? What does it feel like in my mouth? What does it feel like with my hands? What if I rub it on my arm? It's a weird fucking thing. And then you got birds that can. And what I was going to say about dogs is that their system is built off scent. That's why they smell the way they do. And I've watched videos on how their noses work. Like they smell like they take quick inhales and exhales because somehow that allows them to smell like 30 times the amount humans can. It's a weird fucking thing. And then you got birds that can see in like ultraviolet. And some animals like snakes can see in thermal radiation. That's why I'm constantly wondering what the fuck is reality? What is true reality? Because even humans, Chance and I see completely differently. There's things that we see similarly, but we don't see everything similarly. And how do we know that the color green, yeah, we agree, okay, this is the color green, but how do I know that he's seeing the same color green that I'm seeing? We don't. Or red or Adam sees differently. Every human sees differently. Our worlds in our head are completely different. So how the fuck do we justify what we're seeing and what we're not? Because there's things like gravity. Gravity you cannot deny, okay? Gravity is a thing that holds everything down to the earth. You can try to deny it, but you'll look like a fucking crazy person. But gravity is something solid that affects all of us, that holds us to the ground. Unless you are in space, you are affected by gravity, okay? We cannot deny that fact. But then you don't see gravity. You feel it in a way, but you don't see it or feel it or smell it like you would a fucking lamp. I can't touch gravity. Gravity's just touching me all the time. Or air. You can feel air around you, and it's going into our bodies as oxygen, and our lungs process it to give our brain the oxygen and our blood the oxygen it needs, but it's not something tangible almost. We live in a weird fucking reality, dude. And I'm always trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. Because there was one time I took acid, and it was 2 double dip tabs. And my homie at the time, I mean, he's not really a homie, but he was a guy I used to hang out with. And he went way further down the drug rabbit hole than I did. And I luckily I got out of it before it fucked me up like it fucked him up. But he was doing muscle relaxers, fucking Xanax. He was doing all kinds of shit. And he wouldn't even take these 2 double dip tabs. But my crazy ass was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm going to do it. And I took both of them. And I remember going home trying to act normal off these double dip tabs. And when I was a kid and I was doing stupid shit, like drinking or doing shit that I knew my dad would not approve of, I just book it, beeline straight up the fucking stairs to my room. Because I'm not trying to fucking talk to nobody. I'm not trying to let them see my eyes or do any of this shit. Because they might think I'm fucking losing my goddamn gourd. So you just beeline to your room. And I remember walking up my stairs, and I could feel the air around me as if it was a solid mass. It was almost like touching this couch or touching this pillow in front of me or touching this lamp. That's what the air felt like to my body. And it was so solid that I was trying to walk on it. And it took my brain a second to realize what the fuck it was. So I could feel it. Like it was something touching me. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm trying, like I was overstepping the stairs. Like I would put my feet, it was almost like I was stepping on a stair of air and then my foot would hit the stair. Stair of air, my foot would hit the stair. And then I realized, like halfway up the stairs, oh shit, I'm trying to walk on air right now. That's crazy. And that's what I'm saying is like, there's certain things out there that can change your perception in a way that makes any of this shit not even real. And another example I have is there was this one time I was going to buy weed, all right? And I took a 20 out of the ATM right before the mushrooms I had taken were starting to hit. And so then I got to the fucking my sister's house at the time, and I pulled the 20 out and sat there and looked at it. For literally, it was probably like 10 minutes. I was looking at this $20 bill. And it looked like the fakest $20 bill that you could. It looked like a kid drew it, dude. I was looking at this thing like, what the fuck is this? Like, I thought it was fake. And then I was like, I mean, it can't be fake. I was having an inner dilemma because I literally just pulled it out the ATM, but my brain was telling me, okay, this is fake as fuck. And I was looking at it like, oh, it's just paper. It's paper that we drew on. I mean, you could take a crayon and fucking a sheet of paper and fucking draw the same shit and fucking cut it up. And back in the day, that could be money. So this piece of paper that we printed, the government says, oh, this is real shit right here. This is a real $20 bill, bud. It's just because we put all these fucking, you hold it up to light. It's got the markers in it, and it's printed exactly how it's printed. And it says the Federal Reserve on it, and the United States, all this shit. And now we've agreed that because it does this, it is money now, and it is currency. But in reality, it's not. It's just a piece of fucking paper. And it's kind of weird because back in the day, salt was agreed that it was a currency. Beaver pelts, deer's skin. That's why it's called a buck, because deer skin used to be currency. It's like, okay, so what is real and what is not? That's what I struggle with all the time, because we've created this fake reality around us. And you got to go pay your taxes and go to work and do this and do that. And I think that's kind of why I was going so hard on the substances for so long. I got carried away, obviously, and I was using it for different reasons towards the end. But I started, I think, because it's like, okay, they say that weed is bad, and I smoked it for the first time. Didn't feel bad to me. So what else are they saying that's real? Oh, this is bad. You can't do that. You can't do that. Driving drunk. Obviously, you shouldn't do it, but it can be done. So it's like, I think my brain likes to test reality in a way. And with substances like alcohol, it becomes way too stupid. That's why I can't do it. But I like to test reality. Like when I worked at Winnebago, they say you gotta they say you gotta put in a 2-week notice. You gotta do this. Gotta do that. Dude, I fucking left at 8 o'clock in the morning one day because I was sick of the bullshit and I had a job lined up the next day. So it's like, okay, do I really have to stay here and put in a 2-week notice and do this and do? No, I didn't. So what else is there out there that we say we have to do that's really not real? And that's kind of what I've built my fucking whole personality around. It's just, I've used the scientific method, which I didn't realize that's what I was doing. But I was watching Spider-Man with my nephew, and it was a cartoon version of Spider-Man. And Peter had just gotten his powers, and he was like, well, I don't know how to deal with what I'm experiencing right now. So what do I know? I know the scientific method. Observation, there's testing, there's an observation, then you create a hypothesis, then you test and try to prove things within your hypothesis, and then you come up with a theory. And that's what I think I've been doing with my entire life. Because I couldn't understand or explain the things that were going on, but I knew the scientific method. So I observe, I fucking create a hypothesis, I test and prove. Sometimes I test it and I got to refine my hypothesis now because I've tested it and it's not working. But then I test it again and test it again and test it again and test it again until I can come up with a solid theory of why things are going the way they are. And I've merged that with substances in like my own way of just feeling and thinking throughout this weird fucking reality that we live in. And somehow I got this weird fucking hodgepodge bullshit of science, religion, spirituality, and whatever else the fuck's in my brain. And that's what the fuck I've been running off of for these past 22 years. I've had to refine it, obviously, because I've figured out, okay, alcohol's not very good for me. Let's not do that no more. Smoking weed all the time, not good for me. Let's try to refine that. And obviously, I'm not going to stop smoking weed. That's just stupid. I love weed. It's made me a nicer person. It's opened my mind to new things. But I think that I need to take a long break away from it. And I don't know how long that break's going to be, but I don't want to touch it for a while. And to be honest, the thought of it being like mushrooms when I go and touch it again has kept me away. Because I've thought about smoking, obviously, but then I'm like, oh, I know that shit's going to be strong as fuck, and I'm going to be scared. That's what's kept me away from it. Is the fear of, I guess it's the fear of what's going to happen. Even though I know it's not going to kill me, it's not going to damage my body like alcohol does, but it's like, I want it to be a psychedelic. And that's what it can be if you don't abuse it, is you could fucking feel a crazy amount off of that substance if you don't use it every single day. And I've been using it since I was 16 to a few weeks ago, or like 2-3 weeks ago. So what happens if I go like 6 months without it and then try it, or like a year without it and then try it? What the fuck, is it gonna feel like a completely different thing, or is it gonna feel the same, different? That's kind of like state I'm in right now. Is like, I'm trying to test old things in a new manner. I don't want alcohol anymore because I've learned the science of it and what it does to your body, and I've seen long-term alcoholics and how they are affected by the substance. My mom is a great example. Her ass, dude, I haven't seen her in a long time. I need a drink. I haven't seen my mom in a long time. And I think she was one of those parents that spent too long and too much time trying to be my friend. And that's just put me off of her. Because I love my mom for putting me on this fucking planet. And I do appreciate the things she did for me when I was younger. But it was more of like a friendship. It wasn't a parent. That's why I love my dad and I go and see him all the time, is because he has been a parent. Him and I can be friends now. But if I'm doing something stupid, he's going to be the first one to tell me. And that's kind of why I can't really fuck around with my mom in the same way, because she more wants to be a friend the whole time I was growing up. I didn't need a friend at that time. And yeah, you want a friend, but over time you realize, oh, they haven't been doing what they're supposed to be doing with me. They haven't been teaching me and training me how to live life effectively. But I've seen a couple pictures of her recently from my sister hanging out with her and her being at my brother's house, and she looks inflamed. You could, like, her arms are the size of her hands, like inflamed, and her face is swollen and it's starting to sag, and she's got bags under her eyes. Like, she's always been a larger woman. Like, being, when I was a kid, she was kind of fat. I'm going to just say that. I was trying to be nice, but let's not beat around the bush. She was fat when we were kids, but like, her skin was still glowing and her face looked pretty healthy. Her skin looked healthy. But now you can tell that the years of drinking have started to weigh on her organs and on her body, and it's starting to affect her in a way that makes her look like she's a living corpse. Basically, she looks like she's a walking dead person, and that scares me, dude. I don't like seeing her that way. That's why I don't want to go and hang out with her either, because until I see her walk the right path, I can't bring myself to not speak my mind around her. And that's why I don't talk to her much, is because I don't know how to communicate with something like that. Because, and maybe that's my thing, is I got to figure that out. But and I always think about the fact that she's going to pass away and I'm not going to be able to see her ever again. But to be honest, I want to remember her as I did when I was a kid, because see, when I was a kid, I looked at her like she was my superhero. Like, that's how we looked at our parents. And for a long time, I looked at her like that. I was little mommy's boy. I won't lie. But over time, as I saw who she really was, it put me off of her. In my teenage years, I didn't want to talk to her anymore. And I think that I'd rather have that idea of her like I did when I was a kid, that she's a good person, she's a superhero. She does everything she can. Because if I go and see her in reality, and maybe that's not a good way to look at things because it's not real, but I don't want to remember her like she's some fucked up human. And that's what she is. I'm honestly. And she kind of fucked me and my siblings up too. And my dad he wasn't innocent for that because they were drinking and doing stupid shit when we were kids, but my dad has improved himself over time. It's a visual and what's the word? It's a visual and quantifiable improvement that my dad has done. He doesn't drink like he used to. He's got his problems still. He could do better with money and things like that, but it's a quantifiable improvement that I've seen him do over time. He needs to get better in relationships too, but I think he needs to spend some time by himself because he hasn't really spent time by himself. He went from being in a relationship with my mom for 20 years to being in a relationship with my stepsister's mom for fucking 5 years or 7 years, something like that. And then he got with this other chick, and all these women have been very similar. He doesn't see it, but they are very similar in the way that they do things and act and their mannerisms of laziness and not cleaning and not taking care of themselves. They're very similar in that regard. And I don't think he sees it as if an outside perspective would see it. And I think that if he spent some time by himself and improved himself, I think that a better woman would come along. Instead of I think he's in a state of where I was for a long time, out seeking for a woman that's going to make him feel better and make him feel less alone and make him feel as he should. But I don't think that you can get that from looking out. It's just like drugs. Looking for a woman outside of yourself is just like looking for drugs. You're not going to find what you're looking for. I mean, until you feel good within yourself and you found a positive way of living and you're happy and at peace with yourself, I don't think that it's possible to find somebody. I've accepted that maybe I'll never find anybody. I don't want to live my life like that. But if I have to be the rich uncle, that's what I'm dead set on. If I ain't finding a wife and having kids, I'm being a rich uncle, dude. I'm not going to fucking be broke my whole life. That's why I've just started focusing on money. Because I'm not focused on money in the way most people are. Like, oh, this is going to save me. No, it's not, buddy. It's paper. Like, I could go and get pieces of paper from the fucking grocery store. I could get a whole 100 pack of fucking printer paper if I really wanted to. And they say printing money's illegal. Okay. So you just made printing this currency illegal. What if it wasn't illegal? What if I was just freely allowed to print money like the government does? Because they fucking print money every goddamn day. That's why our economy's shit right now. And then we just give all these pieces of paper to everybody. But if it wasn't illegal for us to print money, now it's the currency doesn't matter. It doesn't even exist. Because everybody can just, oh, I need $100 bill. Let me print it out the printer. It's a weird thing. It's a weird ass thing. That's why I like gold, to be honest. Because gold, it looks fucking amazing, first of all. It doesn't have much uses besides in electronics. You can't make tools or weapons or anything out of it. But it looks beautiful. And not only that, but it's a good currency because it's a limited resource. You need a limited resource to have currency. You can't just have something that people can manipulate and print, and you need something quantifiable like oil. Oil could be used as a currency. We have a lot of oil reserves, but we can't just make oil out of nowhere. Like, we can go and kill animals for it. We can fucking do a lot of things to get oil, but you can't just create oil out of thin air like you can just print money on a fucking piece of paper. And that's why I don't look at currency the same way. Because it's not real currency. It's literally the way I look at it is back in the day when we were fucking farmers or hunter gatherer. I guess we can't go back to hunter gatherer times on this one. But when we were farmers, we fucking grew crops or we created clothes out of sheep's wool or whatever the fuck we made it out of. We came up with something, All right, we created bread, we made cakes, we made watches, whatever the fuck we made. And then we sold that product to make money. But in this consumerism world we've created, everything we need is already there. Or at least everything we think we need is already there. I can go buy a watch, I can go buy some food, I can do this, I can do that with money. So now we've created this weird cycle of just running after paper. That's what we've done. Instead of, okay, if I've got everything I need in this regard, what can I do with this paper so that I'm not just chasing more paper? Because we go to work. It used to be that we go to work, we harvest our crops, we do all this shit, we make our bread, for this example, and then we sell our bread and sell it at a fair price because of all the labor and work and labor that went into making that bread. And then we get money back, and then we do that again. And if you make the best bread, guess what? People are going to come to you for your bread. So now we've created kind of a culture of just, I go to work, I make money, buy the things I need, then I go back to work, then I make money, then I buy the things I need, then I go back to work. And that's why everybody's so goddamn sad. Because it's like, I don't want to work forever. This is gay. This is fucking stupid. I don't want to do this shit. Nobody does. So why the fuck are we doing it? Why can't we figure out a way of existing that is not just bullshit? That's what I see it as. It's bullshit. That's why I got so depressed when I was a kid. Because I've always looked into science and shit like that, and discoveries made through historians and archaeologists and psychologists. There's fucking neurologists. There's fucking I forget. I was thinking of a specific word, but I was trying to fucking there's something. There's a word that I'm thinking of. I can't think of it right now. So fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. But I've always looked and admired people who went out and discovered things. Like fucking people, especially people back in the day, when we had no maps, we had no fucking technology, nothing. Motherfuckers just got on a wooden boat and they're like, we're going in that direction. I don't know what the fucking is in that direction. It could be all ocean. We could just fucking never find anything. And we only got fucking 6 months of food, motherfuckers. So we're about to hop in this goddamn boat. We're going to sail that direction. And if we don't make it somewhere in 6 months, we're fucking dead. I admire those motherfuckers. Because they were out there doing shit. Alright? They were fucking discovering new fucking land. They were discovering new fucking materials to build shit out of. New food sources. New everything. And now we live in a fucking weird ass world where people like to paint the picture that we've discovered everything. And I don't like that. Because there's got to be other shit to discover. Maybe we've got to discover what the fuck it means to be human. I don't know why my voice is cracking so much. I think it's because I'm getting excited. But maybe we got to discover shit within ourselves. Maybe that's the leg we're on in human history to figure out, okay, how does our brain, our body, and our spirit truly work in unison together? Because they do. They work in unison. So how are they supposed to work in the best way possible? And what can we discover from that shit? I don't know what part of the human journey we're on. But I feel like there's more discoveries to be made. And that's why I got so depressed, was because I'm like, well, everything's been figured out. That's the way they feed it to us in school. Okay. All right, we're monkeys, and then this happened, and then Christopher fucking discovered America, and then this happened. All right, now we're here. All right, go to work, motherfucker. Shut the fuck up. Stop asking questions. Get your ass out there. It's like, well, okay, this is all we got left? I just got to drive to work every day and not question shit and just exist like this? Fuck that. That's why I started doing drugs, dude. Because I'm like, all right, they say it's bad, but I don't give a fuck. Because this is way worse. I ain't going to fucking live like this. This is a shitty way to fucking live, and I'm not accepting it. So, all right, I'm going to go smoke weed. It turns out weed ain't that bad. All right, Xanax and all these other drugs are pretty bad. They were pretty right about that. Abusing alcohol is pretty bad. They were pretty right about that. But they were wrong about a lot of shit. And look at all the things that we're discovering now, like Graham Hancock's theory, or the things that we're discovering about neuroscience, or we're discovering about the soul, the spirit, and fucking spirituality, just with mushrooms and psychedelics. And there's so many things out there that we have yet to discover. And humans have become complacent because we have everything we need physically. I just need more money so I could just get a nicer car. That'll fucking solve my problem. Or I could get more money and I could just eat for the rest of my life. That'll solve my problem. Or if I get enough drugs, maybe that'll solve my problem. No, that's not the fucking way humans came up and how we're supposed to live as human beings. We're human doing. We're not human being. We gotta fucking stop doing shit. That's where we gotta figure it out. You gotta fucking start being within yourself and figure out how to just exist for a little while. And I didn't know how to do that shit, to be honest. Motherfucker used to tell me that, and I never did it. Alright? But now I'm learning how to do it. And it's like, okay, this theory holds some weight. I just gotta exist. And then you start to figure out after a while what you really need to be doing. Oh, my body needs to be taken care of. I should probably go to the gym and eat well and take some vitamins every here and there, and I should probably stop fucking worrying about shit that I shouldn't worry about, and I should stop getting depressed all the time. And it's possible if you fucking start figuring your shit out. That's the thing. But I want to discover shit. And that's where I think that's what I'm here to do on this motherfucking planet. Because I'm not complacent. Nothing is never fucking enough. Oh, yeah, I went to the gym today. Cool. Who gives a fuck? I don't give a fuck. I went to the gym and did legs. Now, I'm probably going to feel it tomorrow, but guess what? I'm going to get my ass up and go to the gym again. Because it's not enough. Alright, I ate today. I'm still going to have to eat tomorrow. It's like breathing air. That's the way I fucking see this world, dude. Yeah, you breathed air today. Good job, bud. You still got to breathe tomorrow. You still got to breathe the next day. You still got to breathe the next day. It's not going to be enough air. There's never enough air because we need it to survive. So if we start living our life in that manner, where nothing's ever enough, it becomes dreadful sometimes. I ain't going to lie. And you feel like shit sometimes because your achievements are never making you happy. But guess what? They shouldn't. And I think David Goggins talked about that because too many people live in the celebration of things. Oh, yeah, look what I've done. Then you live off that high for a little while, but then guess what? It goes away. You get a new car, you get a new house, you get a new fucking whatever the fuck it is. It's not going to last, dude. It's not going to last. You got to find things that make you feel peaceful, at peace with yourself. And then you can think clearly from that standpoint and that point of view. And until you figured out how to do that, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to fucking feel anything. Sometimes people numb themselves. I was one of those people. I used to numb myself to the point where I didn't have to feel shit. Because I don't want to feel anything. Nobody does. But guess what? We have to. It's part of being human. You got to feel shit. You got to live. You got to fucking... That's part of being alive, buddy. You got to fucking... You gotta freaking freak out sometimes. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing now. But it's just part of life, dude. You just gotta figure it out. And I can't tell you what the fuck that is. I can't tell you how to, just like I can't tell you how to find God. It's your life is your life. My life's my life. And I'm a little harsh on people in that regard, I think. Now that I'm thinking about it, I gotta give people more grace. Because how the fuck do I know that motherfucker isn't supposed to be working right now? Or a motherfucker's doing this or doing that? How do I know? I'm not an omnipotent being that can see all and hear all and be in all places at once. I wish I could be. That'd be pretty fucking sweet. That's why I like talking to people. Because my day is a lot different from Chance's day. And a lot different from Adam's day. A lot different from Thomas's day, my brother-in-law. A lot different from my sister's day or my dad's day. It's the closest I can get to being an omnipotent being. Because their reality that they see is a lot different from my reality that I see. And I wish that I had that superpower to just fucking jump into somebody else's head and run myself through their fucking experience, then come back. But it's not possible. And so you got to talk to people and love people and appreciate them for who they are. Even if we're all fucked up, dude. We all got problems. We're all retarded. Dude, I'm probably one of the most retarded motherfuckers you'll ever meet. I've done some pretty stupid shit in my life, but guess what? I'm still here trying to fucking do better. I'm trying to be a better person. I look like I've got it together. I think I've painted a pretty good picture. I've got fucking muscle now. I've fucking got some cool glasses on. I've painted a pretty good picture of me keeping it all together. But guess what? Behind the scenes, I'm still losing my fucking mind like everybody else. And I think that's what life is. Life is just fucking losing your mind and figuring it out. And you lose your mind again, then you figure it out. Until maybe one day there's figuring it out completely, but I seriously doubt it. Because you see older folks, they still haven't figured it out. They still got shit they got to work on. They're still doing shit every single day. And I think that requires some risk. You got to take some risks. To live, truly, you got to fucking risk a lot of shit. And I think that's what money's really for. Is you got to build up a cushion. That way when you take those risks, it's not going to hurt you as much. And if you got to leave your boss or leave your job or do this or do that, you can fucking just say, fuck you, I'm gone. You don't have to fucking be like, oh, am I going to be able to pay my bills? Am I going to be able to do this or do that? Who cares? You got enough money to say, fuck you. And that's what the fuck I'm trying to work for. Just build enough money to say, fuck everything, I'm doing my thing. And I hope this channel and this podcast, or whatever the fuck this thing's become, can help me do that. I like talking. I obviously can do it for some reason. I don't know why. I just like talking. It's a fun thing. It's a weird fucking thing, but I like just hearing that I have a voice. It's as weird as that sounds. I like hearing that I can talk. And sometimes it gets me in trouble because then I'm not listening. I'm not listening to other people talk because they need a voice too. But I like just hearing my own voice sometimes. As egoic, it sounds weird as fuck to say. I don't like saying that, but it's true. I think everybody likes it. Everybody likes hearing themselves talk, but not everybody does it for some reason. Some people just talk about themselves all the time, which I think that's a trap to fall into too. You shouldn't be talking about yourself all the time. You really think you're that important to be talking about yourself all the fucking time? That's why I don't like talking to most people. Because they're like, let's talk about space. Let's talk about history. Let's talk about drugs. Let's talk about fucking cars. Talk about this. I don't give a fuck what we talk about. But let's not talk about ourselves all the time. Because I don't think we're that important. Humans, as a whole, we're important. We're an important species. We can do a lot of things. But individuals, dude, who gives a fuck? All right? Who cares about what you have to say? That's why I don't care if people watch this or not. Because who gives a fuck what I have to say? I don't care. No, I don't watch this shit. And if motherfuckers don't want to watch this shit, fine. I don't care. But I enjoy doing it, so I do it. I don't know why. I just do it. That's why I do everything. I just do it because I just do it. I just feel like doing it. I'm ending this fucking thing. It's probably been over 40 minutes. It's been an hour and 18, dude. Look at that. All right. I love you guys. Bye.